What's that saying? The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, something like that. That is what we had last week's episode of the Great American Stampin' Show. My name is Jodi Reinhardt. This is my Stamp with Jodi YouTube channel. Competition was fierce last week. Brandy and I were back and forth during the whole voting period from Thursday to Sunday. And then she pulled ahead and I lost. I got second place by just 7 votes. It was so much fun though. We hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. It's kind of funny because I said to my husband, you'd think there'd be a prize or something when I win because I feel so competitive about it. And if you have been watching, I mean, my Burger King crown, it is a prize to be able to wear that. But nonetheless, we have a brand new episode for you today. We are on template number 20. It's crazy that this is our 20th week in a row of doing these Great American Stampin' Show videos for you. I mentioned the voting window. So you vote, you give your thumbs up vote between the time this goes live on Thursday evening and Sunday evening. So that's when we determine who wins. But all of us would very much appreciate your likes and your comments whenever you are watching the videos. It's great for all of us if you continue to do that too. So even if you're watching maybe on a Monday or Tuesday, don't hesitate to give us those likes and comments too. Now, this card I'm going to show you, I'm super excited about. And I will tell you, you're going to want to stay and watch all the way to the end because I pull in a couple other surprises at the very end. So sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 20 of season 3 of the Great American Stampin' Show. All right, so we are rounding out all of these templates here. We are already on template number 20. Just those couple more to go. So I'm going to pull that in a little bit closer so you can see there's not a lot here. Wide open opportunities for creativity with template number 20. So there's that big, not quite squarish piece, a little banner at the top, and the card base. There's not a lot there to work with, if I'm being honest. And this is what I'm using. Some soft seafoam and a few pieces of basic white. Stick with me. It will be exciting, even though this does not look terribly impressive right now. I wanted to pull in the stamps that I'm using, Courage and Faith. I love the verses that are included here and just the simplicity of these little stamps that go along with it. This is all I'm using, and I've got a few ink pads here, and I think you're going to love the end result. So let me start. Let me just get this folded so that we can get moving. So this is a soft seafoam card base. So this was 8.5 by 5.5, folded in half. That's our card base. And then, like I said, these pieces, this one is cut just a little bit larger than this one. So you can see I've got 2 layers of white. And then this will be the piece that I use and trim down for that little banner. So let's see what we could do with this here. All right, I am going to start with the smaller of the 2 pieces. This one is 3.5 by 4.5, so not quite square. And I'm going to pull in the ink pad that is soft seafoam, the same color as our card base. And what I'm going to do is just drag this ink pad across. The more pressure you put, you're never ever going to get this to look the same way twice because it matters how long your stroke is. It matters how hard I push as I'm pulling that ink across. There's a lot of variables here. So I'm just going to continue to get some ink. It's not terribly messy. You might get a little bit of ink on your fingers, but pretty simple way to add some color to a piece of basic white. So if you didn't have, I mean, obviously I have soft seafoam because that's what I use on the card base. But let's say that was your very last piece and you needed something more. This could be your piece. So now, all of a sudden, there's a little bit of dynamic there, right? So I've got that piece with the swiped ink and I've got white behind it. So that changes things a lot, doesn't it? But we're not quite there yet. So I think I'm going to actually open up that soft seafoam again, and I'm going to pull in this image from that Courage and Faith, scoot these over. I'm going to ink this up and just do some stamping around the very edge. And I'll twist and turn a little bit so there's different parts of the stamp showing. And I'm going to do this around the entire outside of the card.
It can go up this way. And let's see, I think I'll twist it to go like that. And then add one here. So it looks a little random and crazy, but when we put those layers back on, you're only going to see that outer edge. So again, simple things, one ink pad so far, but all of a sudden that plain old, this is what we started with, remember, just a moment ago. And all of a sudden we've got stamps around the outside, still the white piece, and the color there. That very quickly changed the dynamic of this card. But wait, there's more. Let's go ahead and take this one and emboss it. Let's add a little bit of texture. I wish I could remember the name of this embossing folder. It's something plaid, I think. We're gonna put it on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and crank it through. And now we've got that lovely texture on this piece. That again just adds a whole nother dimension. Okay? Plain white, and seafoam. We've now got some added interest on there. So before I attach this down, I want to do something else. I like the white, but I feel like we could use something even more to make that pop even more. So I'm going to pull that layer out and I'm going to pull in my Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to do that same technique, but this time just around the very edge. So I'm going to drag Granny Apple Green just along the edges. We're going to like create the effect of Granny Apple Green cardstock from this white piece. You can pull this way on the short end, you can swipe long, however you want to do it. You could use a blending brush, lots of ways to get the ink onto the cardstock. All right, and what I like about this technique is that it's varied. It doesn't look like a solid piece of cardstock. It has that variation in color. Now, we're gonna slip this in between and look what we have there. Totally changed it. Let's do a before and after. I really like that look. What do you think? Have you ever thought about doing that? Just changing the color of your cardstock by just swiping ink across it. And again, you see the white come through. You see that it's not solid. It adds even more interest to that. Now we're ready to attach some layers. So when I have, especially when I have an embossed piece, I put quite a bit of adhesive on because with all of that embossing, there's less surface area it's actually connecting with, right? Because some of the parts of the cardstock are pushed up. So we don't have quite as much. So load that up with adhesive. And then same thing on the back of this one. I'll put some in each corner and in the middle. And we'll go ahead and add that to the card base. So we've got a super quick and creative card. I love the creative elements on this card, but oh my goodness, I've only been stamping a couple of minutes and look at all that we've done already. Now, there was that banner piece. Where did my piece of white? Somewhere I've got, where did I put it? Oh my goodness. All right, I don't know where it went for sure, but I have another one here, so we'll just use this. Scrap of white. Oh no, here it is. I found it. I knew the one I wanted was a little bit narrower. This ought to work perfectly. This one is 1 1/4 inches, and all that matters really is the width here because I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to take this now. So I've used soft seafoam, Granny Apple Green. Now for my banner part, I'm going to use one of the scripture verses with Pretty Peacock. So colors that work together, the greens complement each other well, and then we're going to just add a pop of color with Pretty Peacock. And this one says from 1 Thessalonians, in everything give thanks. And I will stamp that right about there. Great. Get that out of the way. And now this might be my most fun part of the entire card. So if I take this, and for right now, I'm just going to leave it this length. But let's say I do that little banner notch like the template had, and I put it right here. That's how the layout was. That would be a cute card, right? But I think we can add even more to make this more of the focal point. And I want to show you something that I don't know if you have seen before. It's very fun. I hadn't done it in years and years. But I guess I've teased you with it a little bit because I have done this on some cardstock with regular stamping and designer paper. Many episodes ago, maybe, oh gosh, what one was that? I think it was episode 11, actually, as I go back and look at the templates in the catalog. It was the card that I did for this right here. So if you want to see that, go back to my Great American Stampin' Show playlist and look at episode 11. So I did it with that, but I haven't done it with a piece like this. What I'm going to do is take my Versamark ink pad. I'm going to set this face down. I don't need to do the whole piece. I'm going to go maybe to about there and just set this and rub it onto my piece, or excuse me, my Versamark ink pad. So I want this to have all of that sticky Versamark ink on it. Can you see? I think you can kind of see where that line is. I'm going to set it here on my tray and grab my clear embossing powder and just pour it right over. Now, you might be thinking, wait, you forgot to use your embossing buddy. On this, it doesn't matter because I actually want the entire area covered with powder. The embossing buddy is super important if you have, like if I was just doing the words or a certain part, then you definitely want to use that to protect the rest. But for this, I want it all covered. I'm going to scoot this up so I don't blow it all over the place. And I'm going to pull in my heat tool and melt this clear embossing powder. So I don't have glossy cardstock, but I'm going to give the illusion that I do. So it'll take just a moment. You can see it, hopefully, starting to melt. It gets a little glossy. The light reflects a little differently. Can you see that starting there? I think so. And we'll just scoot the heat around to make sure the whole area, that all that powder is melted. Now I left the piece intentionally a little bit long because I need to have somewhere to hold on to. So that's why I didn't trim it down any earlier. Okay. I think, let's get this turned off. I think it's all melted. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able, let me see if I can focus this a bit. Can you see? I think you can a little bit. It's not like a smooth surface. It's a little bit blotchy, for lack of a better word. You see that? So I'm going to do something to kind of help that. So as I touch this, it's pretty cool to the touch. It's, let me refocus again. It's not too hot. When you first turn off that heat, it's hot. But this is cool to the touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another layer to get that to smooth out a little bit. And so I'm going to do the exact same thing. This is already embossed, and I'm just putting more Versamark right over the top of what's already embossed. And I'm going to pull my little tray back in. I'm going to try to just use what I've got here, but I can pour more over it if I want to. I think this will cut it. Tap off that extra. And it's just the exact same thing. It's just a layer over the already melted layer. And what that's going to do is just help it have a smoother finish. There was nothing wrong with the way it was after the first layer. This is just going to add another layer, give it even more gloss and smooth finish. This is my focal point for this card, so I want it to definitely grab your attention. I feel like the powder heats a little faster this second time around too, because it's a tiny bit warm. I wish you could see the difference. There is so much of a difference, and I'm not sure how well it's going to show, but it's so much smoother because of that second layer. You might have to just trust me on that and give it a try yourself. But in person, it totally changed the appearance by doing that a second time. So that's my super helpful tip for today. So even if you've given this a try or you've seen me do it before on that designer paper, That's a special little tip for you. So let's pull this back in, and I'm just gonna cut with my scissors so it'll be straight-ish. Good enough. And then that banner piece had a little notch. It wasn't super high up and flagged, it was a little shorter. So I'm just gonna cut up to about there and go in from my corners. And then I want to add this to my card. Now in the template, it had it going all the way up to the top. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit. I like it going up to that granny apple green layer. I don't like it as much there. What do you think though? I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with it down here. I feel like it just frames it in a little bit more and draws your eye a little bit more where we're trying to, you know, with this embossed and that frame. I think it just pulls it all in there. So before I just attach this, I want to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'll add those on the back. And we could set that right here, popped up just a little bit. But I want to do one more thing. I'm just going to take some linen thread and just tie a really big, loose bow. It's a little less pressure when you're tying it this big, because even I can do that. Although then you get all the twisty parts of the thread because of how it was on the spool. So I'll just go like that. I know I'm gonna have to trim more, but it'll be fine. So before I peel off the back and stick that on, I'm just going to put some adhesive there and set this super loose bow down. That really twisted up, didn't it? There we go. And I'll peel the back off of here. What do you think so far? I just, when you think about what we started with and where we're at now with this card, I just love the transformation. It's so fun. And it really, you know, white cardstock and soft seafoam. That's all we had. Granny apple green around the border here. This is more that soft seafoam. And then I used pretty peacock there. I'll leave it. It's all right. No, it's bugging me a little bit. Okay. So, and you can play with this. You can arrange it however you want to. I'm going to pull in, earth tone shimmer gems, I think is what these are called. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'll just add a few of these. Again, the whole point is just drawing your eye up to that. I'm scooting all this other stuff aside. And you know what I'm going to do? This might not bug you, but I'm just going to go, if I get all this stuff off my hands, I'm going to go like this because I want you to see this pretty card with a clean white background. So that is what I have for you today. Stamping around the edge, swiping the ink here and embossing, swiping the granny apple, doing that double layer of clear embossing powder. And then I want to pull in my cute little envelope. I just stamped more of that image around the outside. But you might be thinking, well, that's great, but gosh, I don't have soft seafoam or granny apple green. Well, what about petunia pop and fresh freesia? And this is blackberry bliss. Or what about petal pink and calypso coral and Cajun craze? I use the different verses that come in the Courage and Faith set to make different samples of this. It was so much fun to do. You can do this literally. If you have one color cardstock and some corresponding ink, you can make that illusion that you have those other colors. So that is what I have for you today. My quick and creative card using Courage of Faith, a few techniques with swiping some ink, and then of course that double layer of clear embossing powder. I hope that you enjoyed this card as much as I did using template number 20. Be sure to go through and watch the other 3 videos. And then as always, come back and give that thumbs up vote to the one that you like the best. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.